Yes. Now we are going to see about Charles Darwin's theory of natural selection. Okay. Charles Darwin explained the theory of evolution in his book, The Theory of Species by Natural Selection. Okay. So this name of the book is important. During his journey around the earth, he made extensive observation of plants and animals. So we know that Charles Darwin did a journey in HMS Beagle ship around the earth. He made extensive observations of plants and animals. So please note the name of the ship HMS Beagle ship. It is not in the book, but it is an important point. Will help you in future examinations. He noted a huge variety and remarkable similarities. Okay, huge variety and remarkable similarities among organisms and their adaptive features to cope up to their environment. Okay, to cope up their environment. He proved that a fittest organism can survive and leave more progenies than the unfit ones through natural selection. So, what Charles Darwin believes that the species can survive in the fittest can only produce more offsprings, which means more progenies than the unfit ones through the natural selections. Okay, so this is the introduction, and we are going to see about now the Darwin's theory was based on several factors and observations and influences. Now we are going to see about the one by one. Number one, overprotection. It is otherwise called as prodigality of production. All living organisms increase their population in large number. We know that these basic facts. For example, salmon fish, which is produces about 28 million eggs during breeding season, and if all of them hatches means the seas would be filled with salmon in few generations. Likewise, if you take elephant, the slowest breeder that can produce 6 young ones in its entire lifetime can produce 6 million descendants at the end of 750 years in the absence of any child. Okay. So this is a concept regarding overproduction. Okay. When you read, you can easily understand. No need to explain regarding these points. Then struggle for existence. It is an important component for your all kinds of examination. You must know about this struggle for existence as well as survival of the fittest in this particular topic under Darwin's concepts. Okay. Organisms struggles for food, space, and mate. So we know that now each organism is living on the basis of food, space, and shelter as well as the mating. Okay. As this becomes a limiting factor, competition exists among the numbers of the populations. So when the availability of the food, for example, the availability of the food is reduced, immediately there is a competition among the members of the population. So Darwin denoted struggle for existence in three ways. So please underline these three important concept is very much important. It is always confusable. Which one is in under which classification you must understand. Intraspecific struggle, interspecific struggle, struggle with the environment. Okay. First we will see about the intraspecific struggle, which is it is the struggle between the same species for food, space, and mating. Okay, same species. Intra means same species. Interspecific struggle with different species for food and space. So here there is a difference. In intraspecific struggle, food and space And one more point is there, mating. Intraspecifically, mating is there. Whereas in interspecifically, which means with different species for food and space only and not mating. Okay, so this is the main difference you must know. And the third one is the struggle with the environment to cope with the climatic variations or flood, earthquake, or droughts, etc. Okay, so this is the concept under struggle for existence. And now we are going to say about the third point is universal occurrence of variations. Okay, so variations means we know that no differences is nothing but the differences. So universal, we know the meaning of the universal. No two individuals are alike, which means everyone is different. There are variations even in the identical twins. So that we can see some differences even in the identical twins. Even the children born of the same parents, different in color, height, and behavior, etc. The useful variations, yeah, the useful variations found in an organisms helps them to overcome struggle, and such variations are passed on to the next generations. So this point we already discussed in the Lamarck's theory of inheritance of acquired characteristics, which is August Weismann's proof. The one who disproved the Lamarck's theory. No, there we learned about how germplasm act on to pass to the next generation, not the somatic. The same point came here in indirect way. Okay. Then the fourth point is a very very important point which was developed by Darwin, origin of species by natural selection. So according to Darwin, nature is the most powerful selective force. Okay, it is most powerful as well as a selective force, powerful selective force. He compared origin of species by natural selection to a small isolated group. Okay, so what he did is he compared the origin of species by natural selection to a small isolated group. Isolated means separated group. Darwin believed that the struggle for existence result in the survival of the fittest. Please underline this term. Struggle for existence resulted in the survival of the fittest. Okay, so first on the struggle for the existence, then survival of the fittest. Okay, such organisms becomes better adapted to the changed environment. Okay, the species which act on struggle for existence can move to the next stage called survival of the fittest. The species which comes under the survival of the fittest, that organism become better adapted to the changed environment because it is already adjusted their environment according to the surrounding environment. Okay, so this is the fourth point, and here we are going to say about the objection to the Darwinism. Okay, it is an important 5-mark question. You must understand first. Okay, we will see what are the objections which is raised against Darwinism. Number one, Darwin failed to explain the mechanism of variations. So what Charles Darwin did is she did not explain the mechanism of variations. He just point out there is a variation, but he did not explain the mechanism of variations. Number two, Darwinism explains the survival of the fittest only, but not the arrival of the fittest. You can see the difference between the survival of the fittest as well as arrival of the fittest. Okay, arrival of the fittest. In survival of the fittest, it will come after the struggle of existence as we discussed earlier paragraph. And the arrival of the fittest is when a species is struggling and it will move to one place to another place. There we can see the arrival of the fittest. It will search for some of the fittest situation in and around that environment. So Darwin explains the survival of the fittest only. The species which is struggles and makes survival of the fittest in the area, in one area, and not the arrival of the fittest. Number three, he focused on small fluctuating variations that are mostly non-heritable. Non-heritable means, as August Weismann theory explained, no, the information which will transform to the next generations. அதை பற்றி he did not explain it. He only concentrated on non-heritable. Non-heritable. He focused on small fluctuating variations only that are mostly non-heritable, which means it will not pass to the next generations. Number four, he did not distinguish between somatic and germinal variations. We know that what is somatic cell, germinal cell, then somatic variations and germinal variations. Then finally, he could not explain the occurrence of vestigial organ. Vestigial organ means some of the organs we are useless organs. No, useless organ. We may have that organs, but it will not in use. That is called vestigial organ. Over specialization of some organs like large tusks in the extinct mammoth, oversized antlers in the extinct iris deer. So these last three lines are very much important. Please note this. It will come in one more question. Okay. Then finally, neo-Darwinism. Neo means new. Darwinism, we know that the followers of the Darwins will help the theory of Darwinism. No, neo-Darwinism is the interpretation of the Darwinian evolution through natural selection, as it has modified since it was proposed. So you must understand one thing. Even it was when Darwin proposed the theory of Darwinism. From that period itself, it was continuously modified. Okay, so since it was proposed, new facts and discoveries about evolution had led to the modification of Darwinism, and it is supported by Alfred Wallace, and Heinrich, Haeckel, Weismann, and Mendel. Okay, so this theory emphasizes the change in the frequency of genes. Please underline the word changes in the frequency of genes in a population arises due to mutation, variation, isolation, natural selection. Okay, so we are going to discuss about what is mutation, what is variation, isolation, natural selection in the upcoming classes. Okay, so in this neo-Darwinism, please note it, the other biologist name. Okay, thank you, students.